All right, folks, welcome aboard. It is Friday on the Steve Malzberg Show, and everywhere else for that matter, from our New York City studios. And we'll be joined by former Governor of Virginia and presidential candidate Jim Gilmore momentarily. Some news, of course, that broke today. Unfortunately, at least 21 people killed in an attack on a hotel in Mali. And we also have a report that a third body has been found in the rubble after the raid on that apartment building in France, where they got, among others, the ringleader of the Paris attacks last Friday. But let me go back to the Mali attack. Gee, who do you think waged the attack in Mali? I mean, various groups have claimed responsibility. It could be Al Qaeda. Who the heck knows who it is? But I bet they're an Islamic terror group, a radical Islamic terror group. Which brings me to Hillary's speech yesterday on how she would combat ISIS. Included in that speech was this.
The bottom line is that we are in a contest of ideas against an ideology of hate, and we have to win. Let's be clear, though. Islam is not our adversary. Muslims are peaceful and tolerant people and have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism.
Muslims have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism. Now, if you could explain that to me, folks, I would sure as heck love to hear it. Because I don't know what the heck this woman's talking about. And neither does she, because listen to the next sentence out of her mouth.
The obsession in some quarters with a clash of civilization, or repeating the specific words radical Islamic terrorism, isn't just a distraction. It gives these criminals, these murderers, more standing than they deserve. It actually plays into their hands by alienating partners we need by our side.
And she went on to say that there is a problem with radicalization in the Muslim community. Joining us, as I promised, is Jim Gilmore, presidential candidate, president of a Free Congress Foundation, and of course the former governor of the great state of Virginia. Governor, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
Muslims have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism. What would possess someone running for president, especially, to say something like that?
I think she's awfully confused, and also the trademark of Hillary Clinton is that she takes both sides of an issue simultaneously. So it doesn't matter which side of an argument you're on, you kind of agree with her because she takes both sides at the same time. The fact is that we are in a war, and we are in a war with radical Muslims, with radical Islamists. We have to be honest about it. We have to admit it. It is an ongoing war, an international guerrilla war, which I've been talking about for quite a long time. And we do have to use a multiple different pronged approach in order to deal with this ongoing war. It's not traditional war, but Hillary Clinton is not going to be able to provide that leadership. She's really disqualified herself from the race because of her email misconduct. But now it sounds to me like she's completely confused. This is a former Secretary of State. She's completely confused about who the enemy is and what we have to do.
All right. Let me ask you where you stand on the whole issue of Syrian refugees coming into this country. A lot of play has been given in the media to Donald Trump saying we need a database for Muslims. If you listen to that tape, actually, it was a question he was asked about a possible Muslim database that he sort of glossed over and then said, yeah, you know, we need a lot of things in this country. And I don't know that he held a press conference and then came out and said we need it. So where do you stand, especially now if you listen to Hillary and you listen to Obama, anything that we prescribe, whether it's greater scrutiny as the House passed a bill yesterday for those wanting to come in, whether it's closing the door, whether it's calling it what it is, radical Islamic terrorism, all that now you can't do because it's only going to give aid and comfort to ISIS in their recruiting effort. So we're living in a really mixed up, upside down world, according to the Democrats.
Well, you really put a lot into that question.
I know.
Number one, I don't agree with Trump on much of his policies on this. In the state of Florida, I gave an inaugural speech down there, it was on C-SPAN, in which I denounced many of his ideas, including the idea of some sort of federal deportation force that he's going to put together, some sort of local domestic secret organization that's going to go root people out. You know, I just don't agree with that kind of thing. I said it's fascist talk. So, and you know, frankly, they go back to Trump and they say, well, you're going to register people in this country. You know, he's all over the map. This is not a serious candidate for president. I don't care what he's showing in the polls. Second of all, Hillary Clinton is a serious candidate for president because she's going to be the nominee of the Democratic Party, which has lurched so far left that she's a danger to the future of this country because she actually might end up getting elected if we don't do something to make sure that she is properly opposed by a serious candidate. Now, look, we've got to understand what this is. This is an international guerrilla war. And I said in my Florida speech that the Paris attack was not to be the end, it was only the beginning, and it is. And now we've seen a Mali attack today, which, by the way, was at one point under French influence a great deal. We may very well see some problems here. It's going to require several points. Number one, we have to continue to strengthen our intelligence and law enforcement people in this country. And the sort of paranoid idea that these people are against us is just dangerous. Number two, it's okay to use military force in order to diminish the secret sanctuaries and the safe havens that people like ISIS have got. Number three, we do have to denounce this radical Islamism. And number four, let's straighten this Hillary Clinton thing out for just a minute. The people who are engaged in this international guerrilla conflict are Muslims. They are radical Muslims. Now, there are plenty of Muslims out there that aren't engaged in this, so we're not going to condemn everybody, and I think she was sort of approximately saying that, but when she says that radical Islamists are not Islamists, that's just crazy talk. So we have to do something right now to get a serious candidate straight about this. I have the experience in foreign policy and national security that the other Republican candidates simply don't have, and that's why I'm running for president.
All right, let's talk about the presidential campaign. Next debate on the Republican side is December 15th. I believe it's a CNN debate once again. I know they think they're going to have 9 people up on the stage, and I don't know if there's going to be an undercard or not. How difficult is it for you, Governor, and has it been with the debate structure and the fact that you weren't involved in the last one and were in the the undercard on the previous ones?
Well, I think the whole debate process is a train wreck. You've got polls that are ungoverned. We have no idea what they are. They've got wide margins of error, and they're including or excluding people just based upon small little fractions. It's totally crazy. But then, of course, you get this other problem that people who actually are getting on the stage are getting free political advertising. And that's just the reality. And then they get better poll numbers. Then they get back on the stage. I can't control all that, Steve. What I can control is this. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put forward not only my credentials, but my ideas. And I'm going to do it directly to the voting public in places like New Hampshire and South Carolina. And I'm going to run for president, and I'm staying in because I'm the right person to be the president, and I think that's going to come through in the end.
Let me play devil's advocate. I mean, is there a point
No.
where you would say, this isn't going to happen?
No, there's no devils or angels advocate in this. I'm not getting out of the race. I'm in the race because I should be the president. I owe it to myself, not just to myself, though, to my country, to stand up and be counted when the chips are down. And this is the time when we're in the greatest danger. The Democrats have lurched left. The economic programs of the left are very dangerous for this country and anti-free enterprise. On the international scene, we are in an international guerrilla war. We're seeing the rise of the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians. And I am prepared to deal with these issues, and many of the other candidates aren't. Many of our Republican candidates can't be nominated, can't be elected, and ought not to be elected.
All right, so
it's my duty to go out there and run.
Just for clarity, and give your website, sir.
GilmoreForAmerica.com.
Okay, GilmoreForAmerica.com. All right, just again, when you say you're not getting out of the race, that means until there is a nominee selected to the very end. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I expect, but I'm going to tell you this. All these reports about getting out in the next couple of weeks or before the New Hampshire primary, all that's nonsense. I'm in it to stay. I'm going to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. I'm on the ballot in South Carolina. I'm on the ballot in Florida. I intend to be on the ballot in Virginia. We have other states that we're talking to. We expect to be on those ballots.
Gotcha.
But the main thing is the ideas and the credentials and the direction of this nation, and I can provide that.
All right, Governor, thank you for joining us. Good luck, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, next, folks, the Malzberg panel with Larry Elder and David Goodfriend. That's coming up. Don't go away on Newsmax Television.